So I want to talk about sanctions. So this segment's going to be a little different than when I spoke about sanctions coming off of the US withdrawal from Afghanistan, because I want to talk specifically about the sanctions that are being imposed on Russia by the rest of the world. Now, let's start with the obvious question. Do I support sanctions? Yes. But those sanctions need to be targeted specifically to the people who are causing the hurt. Okay? So, in my mind, the people who are causing the hurt in Ukraine are the Russian military, the Russian petrol barons and coal barons, and the oligarchs that support them. Okay? 3 groups, people. Okay. Who is not causing the Ukrainians harm? Regular Russian people in Russia, regular Russian people around the world. And I think that list on both sides is fairly agreeable. I would be surprised if you disagreed with it. So, if we want to create pain for the people who are causing pain, then we have to target our sanctions in such a way that we only hurt those people. Which, by the way, is not easy, because oftentimes the systems that the people who are causing pain and the people who are not causing pain use are going to be similar. So an excellent example of something that I think, of a sanction, as it were, that's kind of ridiculous, that is being done now, is that Apple Pay and Google Pay have stopped allowing their payment services to operate in Russia. So you might think that this is fairly innocuous, right? There's other ways to pay. However, in the Moscow metro, people can pay by using Google Pay and Apple Pay, right? And that allows people to go through faster. Anyone with some kind of wireless card that you can use for your mass transit knows that it makes it much easier to just kind of to tap your device or card or whatever and just get on the bus, train, light rail, whatever, right? It just makes it faster. There's less queuing. There are fewer delays, that kind of thing. So there were significant delays for people trying to use the Moscow subway. Regular people, regular Russians who have nothing to do with this war, are being hurt and inconvenienced by something that's supposed to make us feel better about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, right? Same thing with targeting the banks and saying that the banks can't use their foreign reserves to offset the issues with the Russian currency. Now, do I think it's important that we've targeted the Russian currency? Yes, because the war chest is what is being used to harm Ukraine. So in some ways, that makes sense to do. However, on the flip side, by kicking these banks out of SWIFT, which is the Brussels-based international system for allowing financial transactions to go bank to bank, you also stop regular Russians from processing and using those services, right? So sending a check to someone outside of Russia, receiving money in Russia, being able to use, any other type of bank services that are related to the rest of the world, well, you're hurting people who had nothing to do with the conflict, right? So when we're looking at what a sanctions package should entail and what kind of pain we want to inflict on those inflicting pain, there are some obvious ones, right? So you should freeze the individual accounts of these oligarchs and coal barons and petrol barons and Putin. You can freeze their passports, stop them from leaving, seize their assets around the world, whether those are hard assets like boats, yachts, racing cars, mansions, what have you, or whether those are soft assets like Swiss bank accounts and things like that. You can seize those and actually cause active pain to the people who are causing pain without hurting regular Russian people who are just trying to send money or to take the train to work or to buy groceries or to buy gas. For a while, it looked like the Biden administration was actually going to go that route only, that they were going to be very careful and selective about how the US deals with Russia, economically speaking. But that has since changed. Additionally, we are seeing around the world a kind of rise of xenophobia. And I talked about it 2 weeks ago, but it's gotten worse. We have 10 US states now who have declared that Russian vodka cannot be sold in their state. And I hate to break it to you, I really do. Boycotting vodka is not going to stop the war effort. It's just not. By the way, one of the things that I think is very interesting about this is that the more that you create collective punishment systems, the more you're going to drive the Russian people into the arms of Putin. This has happened in lots of different places where we disagree with, where the US disagrees with the way a government is running, and we try to hurt the people. The people have often rallied around their leaders because they see the people who are hurting them more than their leaders are actually the people imposing the sanctions, the ones making their lives miserable, the ones making their currency worthless. So if we're not careful with our sanctions, not only do we unintentionally hurt people that we don't mean to, or intentionally hurt people who we shouldn't, we also create an incentive and a very easy propaganda campaign for anyone who is trying to create a situation where you encourage the population to actually rally behind the leader, right? Because they see the leader as being the least worst option, right? So obviously, don't boycott Russian products just because they're Russian. Don't boycott Russian restaurants. Don't get mad at individual Russian people. There are plenty of people to be angry at. But regular Russians at home in Russia or abroad in the rest of the world just don't make the cut. And the best way to encourage them to turn on Putin, whether at home or abroad, is to show them that we actually support them in doing that around the world. And you don't do that by actively harming them. You do that by engaging with them and encouraging them to denounce what's going on. Because the more you hurt them, the less incentive they have to do that. They're just not going to want to. Even if they drop out of the whole thing and be neutral, you still haven't gotten the objective you wanted, which is to get them to turn on their leader, to make the war less popular, to make it more likely that the war stops. So as we go forward, we just need to be careful. And by the way, last point. At first, when the war was first declared, only about 50% of Russians even supported the war. That is crazy low numbers for starting a war. That number is only going to get worse if we play our cards right. And the less popular the war is, the more likely it is that it stops, or that Putin gets desperate and does something crazy. But we need to rely on whatever semblance of democracy is left. We need to put pressure on the oligarchs, we need to put pressure on Putin, and we need to encourage regular Russian people to put pressure on Putin and encourage them to do so, and even reward them for doing so. That is how we're going to end this war, in my opinion. We're not going to do it by hurting regular Russians. So please don't. It doesn't help anyone, but it does hurt someone.
Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, throw a like on it, share with your friends, and subscribe for more of our content. You can also find all of our videos and clips on youtube.com. Just search Let Them Eat Bread and you'll find all of our content. Alright guys, see you next time. Bye for now.